You're watching actTV. Guess what? This Saturday, January 15th, is the deadline to sign up for the Affordable Care Act. Have you seen that reported out there or on U.S. mainstream or corporate media? No, because Big Pharma doesn't like the ACA, and all your mainstream news is brought to you by ads for Xeljanz. I mean, literally, who knew that so many people had severe plaque psoriasis? I had no idea. I particularly like the irony of the news media outlets fear mongering you and scaring the pants off you for 45 minutes straight, and then having, you suggesting that you ask your doctor if Lunesta is right for you. Of course, you need a sleep aid. After the nonstop reporting on widespread crop failures and environmental collapse. Oh, no, wait, they don't actually report on widespread crop failures and environmental collapse. We just talked about that. Anyway, Saturday, January 15th is the deadline to sign up for the ACA. You still have time. Plus, say goodbye to surprise bankruptcy after visiting the dermatologist. There is a new surprise medical bill rules taking effect this month. And in additional health news, the Supreme Court is poised to rule on vaccine mandates. Laura Packard, executive director of healthcarevoter.org and the host of Care Talk right here on actTV, is here to discuss all this and more. Laura, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
I'm so glad to see you, and thank you so much for waiting. We had to cover everything that was going wrong in the mainstream media.
Well, also, while we were waiting, the Supreme Court ruled on vaccines. They have ruled. And they ruled that on the OSHA case, that large employers cannot, that OSHA can't make large employers insist that their employees either be vaccinated or regular testing. So OSHA
they cannot. No testing too, huh? Wow.
Yeah. So the vax or test mandate that OSHA had in place for large employers, the Supreme Court says that is not okay. But they did rule in favor of the CMS case, which means that medical facilities can require vaccination. So large employers, OSHA can't make large employers require it. Large employers can choose to do that, but the government can't make large employers do that. But they can make medical facilities require vaccination.
Okay, so on what basis did they decide this? Because they seem to be splitting hairs based on, if you're a medical facility, you can have a federal government mandate. And if you're a private facility, you can't have a government mandate. But then if you're a private facility, you can mandate it yourself. What can you break down sort of the legal?
Well, this just came out minutes ago, so I haven't even read it. I can't really tell you how they split the hairs, but I do think it's interesting that the Supreme Court has stringent policies in place to protect themselves, but they're leaving the rest of us out to dry. So they are not going to let the government insist on healthy workplaces. I mean, this is an obvious thing for OSHA to have control over. OSHA makes sure that your boss can't poison you. OSHA should also be able to make sure your boss can't expose you to a deadly disease.
Yes, that would be good. Oh my goodness. Well, I guess we're going to be hearing a lot about that in the coming days and all of that. I mean, maybe we'll check in with our Supreme Court reporter about how it seems to bring to mind the Hobby Lobby decisions about how you can and cannot, a workplace can't say that you can't have birth control in your healthcare package or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is a radical right-wing court, and they are picking and choosing the kinds of things that they support or not, and then they're just fudging the legal piece to get to the point that they want to get to. So it's like Bush v. Gore all over again. They know the outcome they want, and they do not care about the laws in the way of that.
Well, let's talk about some good news that just happened. The surprise bill. Is it called the surprise bill? I mean, talk about what happened. I was very happy to read that I won't be going to as I said in the opening, the dermatologist and getting a $7,000 bill for removal of a spot that I didn't expect. I thought it would be $290, $14 copay or something like that.
Well, surprise medical billing is often what happens when you go to the emergency room and so on, and the doctors that you see are not covered by your insurance company. So this is something that happens when your insurance doesn't cover something that you thought your insurance should cover. So accidents, ambulances, ER visits, that all of a sudden you get socked with a huge bill because
I just had this happen. I just had it.
You're in anesthesia. You're under your anesthesiologist put you under, and you didn't have the chance to ask them, "Hey, do you take my insurance?"
Yeah, that's what they told me when I was going to give birth. Make sure when you get to the hospital, if you have to have anesthesia, you ask them if they take your insurance. I'm like, won't I be giving birth? Do I have? I have literally. They told me, the birther, not birther, but the birth giving person to stop the process to make sure this guy is taking my copay. It's insane.
Yeah. Hold up. Wait. I'm about to have this baby, but first,
baby, hold on. I have to get my paperwork in order. Otherwise, you got to go back in. I mean, what the hell? I'll have to waddle over to Methodist and get, see if they're. Yeah, it's crazy. It's insane.
So this fix to surprise medical billing, it passed about a year ago, a little bit over a year ago now. And the reason why it was so hard to get passed is because hedge funds and private equity firms make so much money off of surprise bills. Ooh. So there was a lot of money fighting against a solution.
Can you draw the line? Like, how do they do that? What's the mechanism that they're making money?
Well, more and more small doctors' practices and so on, especially during this pandemic, people have sold out, have gotten bought, and private equity firms see a great opportunity to profit from our broken healthcare system. So they are buying up more and more small doctors' practices and so on. And sometimes what they will do is they won't even contract with anybody for health insurance. And then everything they do is surprise billing, because with surprise billing, they can charge whatever they want. And then they go after you legally to pay it.
But won't they lose like the entire clientele of the doctor at some point after that? Or are they just kind of vampiring out the practice?
Kind of vampiring out. I mean, You would think that hospitals would make sure that everyone in their building took all major forms of insurance, but hospitals don't really seem to care. And that's why people wind up with these enormous bills. But this solution that's now been that has gone into effect as of January 1st means that if you get a surprise bill, it's now between your insurance company and the medical provider to sort it out, rather than involving you in the middle of it.
Oh, I wish that had happened in December, because I spent half the month making phone calls. You don't expect, when the doctor says for example, go to Quest and get some blood drawn, to get a $4,000 bill in the mail. Like, how could it possibly cost that much in the first place? The price gouging that goes on is beyond me. And then, them not telling you that maybe you'll have to pay that is unbelievable. Yes. So now they're basically going to tell you that you might have to pay $2,000 or whatever it might be.
Well, if anybody puts paperwork in front of you that signs your right of way on surprise medical bills, ask more questions before you sign. But I mean, if it's an emergency, you're busy having a baby, you're busy going through surgery on a car crash. You're not going to check every piece of paper because you're in the middle of being operated on. So check before you sign anything. And if you get a medical bill, CMS now has a website and a hotline that you can go to report those surprise medical bills.
Who can we thank for the passage of this bill that says...
Yeah, it was a bill.
It's a bill. Yeah. Who can we thank for the passage of this? What groups work to help get it passed, and what politicians can we thank for capitulating to us instead of their corporate donors?
Well, this was a fight for several years, several different organizations. There were many attempts and fails. This happened in the lame duck session of 2020. So some people involved are no longer in office, but it all happened like December of 2020. So probably if your representatives were around then, hopefully they voted for it. This was a bipartisan bill. It didn't get filibustered. It got through the Senate.
Excellent. Well, yes, because even Republicans don't like a surprise bill. Nobody likes a surprise bill. Don't worry, those poor little venture capitalist places, they'll find another way to screw you. They've been doing it. They're very good at that somehow. Okay, so we talked surprise bill. We talked SCOTUS on vaccine mandates. The ACA deadline is coming up Saturday. What do people need to know?
Well, the deadline in most states is Saturday, which is January 15th. So if you want to have health insurance for this year, you should go to healthcare.gov and sign up because time is running out. And even if in the past you couldn't afford the plans, check them out now because thanks to the American Rescue Plan last year, plans are more affordable than ever. So go to healthcare.gov before the end of the day, Saturday.
Oh, that's so interesting. I made mention at the beginning that this wasn't getting a lot of blanketing press coverage. Don't you think that it should? Don't you think that our all of our press outlets should be letting people know that this is happening since it affects them?
Absolutely. But also, you live in New York, right?
I live near New York, in the New York general area.
Okay, because New York and New Jersey, I think they both have their own state-based marketplaces. So the advertising may be coming from your state as opposed to nationally. I didn't see a lot of advertising here in Colorado, but when I was in Arizona over the holidays, I saw a lot on TV. So
advertising, yes, but actual news coverage where your local news person says you can get on the ACA, you can get free healthcare, or not free, but you can get healthcare. That's I feel like that's what you're supposed to do as a news person is tell people what might be useful for them and not have to wait for an ad that's obviously paid for by someone, me, the taxpayer.
Yep.
Right? Shouldn't.
Yeah. And the media should be covering this more because it's an act of public service in that many people will qualify for cheap or free plans. They just have to go to healthcare.gov and sign up.
Okay, so do it by midnight. Do it before then because it's going to get jammed up at midnight with everyone pushing that button right at the last second. So the sooner the better, but you still have until January 15th. Laura, if people need help filling it out, if they're, they can't do it, if they can't figure it out, is there a place where they can go?
Yes. So if you go to healthcare.gov, on that website, you can find local people to help you through it. And that help is free. Whether you call the healthcare.gov hotline itself or whether you call a local navigator, it is free. It will not cost you anything to find out what is available for you.
Huh. Not like TurboTax, where if I actually have a question about doing my taxes when I'm on that service, then they charge you money. Okay. Doesn't the government want my tax money? Shouldn't they set something up like this?
That's a whole other thing. And Intuit has lobbied for years to prevent that from going through because they make a lot of money off of it.
No kidding. Every time I have a question, I'm like, another $20. You get Laura Packard, your show, Care Talk, right here on actTV. Tell the people what time and tell them about the show in case they don't know what it is.
Yes. Well, watch us at 4:00 Eastern on Mondays on actTV, where we answer your questions about healthcare and health insurance. And also we talk about general larger picture issues like surprise billing or like COVID and how to protect your family, that kind of thing. Excellent. So we are off for the Martin Luther King Day holiday next Monday, but we will be back after that.
And you're staying on forever. Is that correct? I'm pressuring you. I'm publicly pressuring you here.
We are at least sticking around through spring.
Yes. Excellent. Very good. Laura Packard, thank you so much. I appreciate you coming on the program. Laura Packard from healthcarevoter.org and from Care Talk right here on actTV. Thanks so much.
Thank you.